Commande's radiation sickness in a world, the global air math.
August 6, 1945. One city, one bomb, one moment that changed the course of human history forever. At dawn, Hiroshima is alive. Children walk to school holding small lunch boxes of rice. Trams rattle down narrow streets. Men in uniforms hurry to work. The river glows beneath the rising sun. No one knows that in just minutes, this same sun will be replaced by another brighter, deadlier, man-made. Japan is losing the war. Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya all reduced to ashes. But Hiroshima stands, untouched, unexplained. Some call it luck. Others whisper, they're saving us for something. They're right. The morning feels peaceful, but it's not real peace. It's the silence before the storm. Families cook breakfast with rationed rice. Soldiers polish their boots. A teacher writes today's date on the blackboard, August 6, 1945, and outside, the world's first atomic weapon is already on its way. Far above the Pacific, a B-29 bomber named Enola Gay cuts through the clouds. Inside, a crew of 12 men sits in silence. They have a mission and a secret none of them fully understands. In the bomb bay rests a weapon called Little Boy. It holds uranium-235, enough to wipe out an entire city. Back in Hiroshima, the sky is clear. No sirens, no warnings. The air raid system is silent. People have seen bombers before, they always fly past. So, when a tiny silver dot appears above the city, nobody runs. Nobody hides. A mother hangs laundry. A child points to the sky. A soldier squints at the glimmer overhead. At 8:14 a.m., Enola Gay is in position. Altitude, 31,000 feet. Target, the AIOI bridge, the perfect T in the center of Hiroshima. Major Farabee steadies his hand on the bomb release. Bomb away. Below, time moves normally. A teacher erases the chalkboard. A tram driver checks his watch. A girl ties her shoe. No one knows that a weapon of unimaginable power is already falling toward them. 43 seconds. That's how long it takes. In that time, a city breathes, unaware it's breathing for the last time. The bomb spins quietly through the air. Then a flash, brighter than the sun, hotter than the surface of a star. In less than 1 second, Hiroshima disappears into light. Where once there were homes, schools, and laughter, only silence remains. The silent mourning becomes the loudest scream the world has ever heard. And as the mushroom cloud rises, humanity steps into a new age, the atomic age. Midnight, August 6, 1945. On the island of Tinian, under a black Pacific sky, 12 men prepare for a mission no one truly understands. The air smells of fuel and salt. Engines roar in the distance. In the dim light of the airfield, a silver bomber gleams, the Enola Gay. Inside a guarded hangar nearby, a long metal cylinder lies waiting. It's codenamed Little Boy. For tons of steel and uranium, the product of 3 years of secret work and $2 billion. The world's first atomic bomb. No one outside this island knows it exists. Colonel Paul Tibbets, 30 years old, walks slowly toward the plane. He's calm, but his men can see the tension behind his steady eyes. This is no ordinary bombing run, it's history in the making. He climbs into the cockpit and straps in. His mother's name is painted on the nose of the plane, Enola Gay. A strange choice, perhaps, for a mission that will end in so much death. At 2:45 a.m., The order comes, takeoff approved. The propellers roar, slicing through the night. One by one, the engines ignite. The bomber rolls down the runway, lifting into the darkness. Below, the island fades away, and with it, the last touch of normalcy these men will ever know. Inside the cabin, the crew settles into silence. The plane is heavy, the air thick with tension. Captain Parsons, the weaponeer, begins assembling the bomb mid-flight, a task never done before. He works carefully, hands shaking slightly as he loads the explosive charge. One mistake and the Enola Gay would vanish midair. In the back of the plane, radar operator Richard Nelson listens for enemy signals. The Pacific beneath them is invisible, a black void stretching endlessly. Navigator Theodore Van Kirk traces their path toward Japan, every line on his map leading to a single red circle, Hiroshima. 300 miles to go. Outside, the horizon begins to glow faintly. The first signs of dawn appear, the same dawn that is now brightening over Hiroshima. Two worlds moving toward collision. Tibbets glances over his shoulder. Everything set? Parsons nods. Bomb armed. The words hang heavy in the cabin. No one speaks. They all know what this means. They are carrying a weapon that could end the war or end the world. By 7 a.m., Japan appears below. The coastline glitters faintly through thin clouds. The plane climbs to 31,000 feet, holding steady. It's eerily calm. No fighters, no flak, no resistance. As if the sky itself has cleared a path for them. To the crew, the mission feels unreal. They have trained for months, studied the science, heard the theories, but no one has ever seen what will happen next. What does an atomic explosion even look like? What will it do to a city full of people? No one truly knows. Radio operator Richard Nelson breaks the silence. Tibbets, weather over Hiroshima, clear skies. Target visible. The perfect condition. Perfect morning for destruction. In the bombardier's seat, Major Thomas Farabee leans over the Norden bomb site, a complex piece of glass and metal designed to hit targets with deadly precision. Below, he can already see the Oder River glinting in the sunlight. He adjusts his view. There it is, the AIOI bridge, the target, a perfect T-shape at the center of the city. He calls out, "Target acquired." The crew braces. Inside the bomb bay, little boy hangs silently, the final invention of human genius and madness. At 8:09 a.m., Tibbets steadies the plane. The order is simple. Drop the bomb at 8:15. 6 minutes. 6 minutes between the world as it is and the world as it will become. In those minutes, every man in the plane faces his own thoughts. Parsons, the scientist, wonders if the bomb will even work. Van Kirk, the navigator, quietly prays. Farabee keeps his eyes on the sight, heart pounding in rhythm with the ticking clock. And Tibbets just flies. 2 minutes to target, says the co-pilot, Captain Lewis. His voice trembles. Below them, Hiroshima is peaceful. A river city, calm and bright under the morning sun. It doesn't look like an enemy. It looks like home. 30 seconds. The bomb doors open. Wind screams through the cabin. A sudden flash of sunlight blinds the crew for a moment. Then, Farabee presses the release switch. Bomb away! The plane jerks upward as 4 tons of weight drop from its belly. Inside, a deep, hollow silence fills the cabin. The bomb falls through the air, spinning, silent, graceful. 43 seconds to impact. Tibbets banks hard, turning the plane away. They have to escape the blast. "Let's get out of here," he shouts. Engines roar. The Enola Gay races through the air at full power. 40 seconds. 35. 30. No one speaks. Everyone waits. Every second feels eternal. Then, at 8:15 a.m., the sky ignites. A light floods the horizon, whiter than the sun, hotter than the surface of a star. The shockwave hits the plane seconds later, rattling every bolt and rivet. Tibbets grips the controls as a roar of air tears pass the windows. The men cover their eyes, shouting in disbelief. From 30 miles away they can see it, the cloud. A boiling column of fire and smoke rising higher and higher, twisting into the shape of a giant mushroom. No one speaks. No one breathes. Hiroshima has disappeared beneath it. In that moment, every man aboard Enola Gay understands. They have just released something the world can never take back. As the plane circles away, they watch in silence. The sky glows orange. The city below is gone. Tibbets writes in his logbook 2 simple words: "Mission accomplished." But in the quiet that follows, none of them can look each other in the eye. The war may end soon, but for these 12 men, peace will never come again. They have seen the birth of the atomic age, and they will carry its shadow for the rest of their lives. 8:15 a.m. A quiet morning turns into eternity. A blinding white light explodes across the sky. It's not like sunlight. It's sharper, crueler, as if the heavens themselves have been split open. For a fraction of a second, every shadow vanishes. Then the city ignites. Hiroshima, a city of 350,000 souls, is erased in a single flash. People walking on bridges, in streets, in classrooms. Their outlines are burned into walls, carved into stone by the heat of a star. Bodies dissolve before their minds can understand what has happened. The air itself becomes fire. Temperatures reach 4,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than molten lava. Wood bursts into flame. Tiles melt. Iron bends like wax. 1,000,000 shards of glass explode outward, slicing through everything in their path. The shockwave follows, a wall of wind moving faster than sound, flattening houses, snapping trees, lifting cars like toys. In the center, at ground zero, there is no sound, just light, a flash that erases everything, buildings, memories, entire generations, in less than 1 second. A boy standing by the river feels the world vanish around him. When he opens his eyes, his home, his family, his street, all are gone. The river boils beside him. His shadow, burned into the stone wall behind, is the only proof he was ever there. Within 2 kilometers of the epicenter, 90% of all life disappears instantly. Those farther away are thrown to the ground as the blast wave tears through the city. Clothes burst into flame. Skin peels like paper. People stumble blindly, their bodies glowing, their voices hoarse, calling for water that no longer exists. Firestorms sweep through the ruins. The city becomes a furnace. Winds from the explosion pull oxygen inward, feeding the flames until the fire roars like a living creature. Everything that can burn does. Hospitals collapse. Doctors, nurses, patients, all gone. Those who survive drag themselves into the open streets, not knowing that invisible radiation is already poisoning their blood. They look up, not at the bomb, but at the strange, terrible cloud rising above. A massive pillar of smoke and fire, twisting into the shape of a mushroom. It grows higher, darker, until it swallows the sun itself. From the air, the crew of Enola Gay watches in silence. No one speaks. No one moves. The sight is too immense to understand. A single city has turned into a rising storm of death and ash. Below, Hiroshima is no longer a city. It's a shadow on the earth. The Oda River glows red with fire. Bridges burn. The dome of the Industrial Promotion Hall, later called the Atomic Bomb Dome, still stands half-melted, the only witness left standing. And amid the flames, there are voices. A mother searching for her child. A soldier calling for help. 1,000 cries echo in the smoke, blending into one terrible, endless sound. Radiation burns through the air, unseen, unstoppable. Birds fall from the sky. Leaves curl to ash. Metal turns black. Every breath brings death closer. Minutes pass, but time no longer feels real. The city has become something else. A landscape of ghosts. Those who survived the first flash begin to wander. Their skin hanging in strips, eyes clouded with shock. They stumble toward the rivers, whispering a single word, Mizu, water. They kneel, trying to drink from boiling streams. Many never rise again. Within an hour, Hiroshima is silent again. But it's not peace. It's the silence of extinction. The mushroom cloud towers 10 miles high, visible from over 500 kilometers away. Inside it, dust, ash, and radioactive particles swirl together. The birth of a new kind of storm. Rain begins to fall. Black rain. Thick, oily drops that stain the skin and poison the ground. The survivors look up, thinking it's mercy, but it's death falling from the sky. By noon, fires rage across what was once a city. Thousands lie still, unrecognizable. The air stinks of smoke and metal and silence. The bomb has done what no army, no empire, no war ever achieved. It destroyed time itself. From Tokyo to Washington, no one yet knows what has happened. The world still turns, unaware that in the space of a single heartbeat, humanity has crossed a line it can never return from. And as the fires burn, one truth begins to take shape in the ashes of Hiroshima. The world will never be the same again. When the fire stopped, silence returned, but it was not peace. It was the sound of a city that no longer existed. Smoke rose from every corner of Hiroshima. The ground glowed red, like the inside of a furnace. Every breath burned the throat. The wind carried the smell of ash, blood, and metal. It was the smell of a new kind of death. Those who had survived the first flash wandered through the ruins, half blind, their skin hanging in ribbons. They moved slowly, like shadows in a dream, calling for water, for family, for anyone. Mizu, they whispered, water, but there was none. The rivers were boiling. In the northern districts, soldiers tried to find the army hospital. It was gone. Doctors who survived used torn cloth as bandages, pouring oil instead of medicine. There was no help, no food, no hope. Then it began to rain. A soft drizzle at first. Cool drops on burning skin. The survivors lifted their faces, opening their mouths to the sky. They thought it was a miracle, but it was not mercy. It was poison. The rain was black, thick, oily, and bitter. It stained clothes, skin, the ruins of homes. It fell for hours, carrying ash and radiation from the mushroom cloud above. Every drop was death disguised as water. And those who drank it, hoping for relief, would die slowly in the days to come. By evening, what remained of Hiroshima was unrecognizable. The streets were filled with the living and the dead, side by side. Fires still burned beneath collapsed roofs. A few trains sat twisted on their tracks, their metal warped like paper. The Oda River was choked with floating bodies. As night fell, the survivors gathered in open fields outside the city, shivering, coughing, trying to make sense of what had happened. Many still believed the bomb had landed directly on them, not from an airplane but from the gods. No one could imagine that one weapon could destroy an entire city. Hundreds of kilometers away, Tokyo received the first fragmented reports. A single message from a railway operator read, "Hiroshima, wiped out. No details available." Radio stations fell silent. The government in Tokyo thought it was an exaggeration, a communication error. They had no idea that one city had simply vanished. The next morning, a reconnaissance plane flew over the ruins. What they saw defied description. From the air, Hiroshima looked like a gray scar, a circular wound carved into the earth. No buildings, no movement, no city. Only smoke, ashes, and silence. When the crew returned, their report contained just 5 words. Hiroshima no longer exists, completely destroyed. In Washington, the scientists of the Manhattan Project listened as news came in. Some celebrated, others turned pale. They realized, for the first time, what their creation had done. What had been a scientific triumph had become a moral nightmare. And in Japan, the emperor's advisors faced the impossible question. Was this a single attack, or the beginning of the end? As the black rain fell and the fires burned through the night, a new reality began to sink in. The world had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. August 7th, 1945. The world wakes up to a silence it does not yet understand. In Japan, communication lines are broken, news is fragmented, and rumors spread like ghosts in the dark. But on the other side of the world, in Washington, the truth is about to be spoken aloud for the first time in human history. At 11 a.m., President Harry S. Truman steps in front of a group of reporters aboard the USS Augusta. The war with Japan is still raging, but he knows that in less than 24 hours, everything has changed. He reads from a short statement. His voice is steady, almost calm. 16 hours ago, an American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima, an important Japanese army base. That bomb had more power than 20,000 tons of TNT. It is an atomic bomb. Those words mark the birth of a new era, not just the end of a war, but the beginning of a new world. Truman continues, "We are now prepared to destroy more rapidly and completely every productive enterprise the Japanese have above ground in any city. If they do not now accept our terms, they may expect a rain of ruin from the air, the like of which has never been seen on this earth." A rain of ruin. No one listening can fully imagine what that means. The American public cheers. They believe the war may finally be over. But even in celebration, a sense of unease lingers. What kind of weapon could cause a city to disappear? In scientific circles, shock spreads faster than triumph. Many of the Manhattan Project scientists who built the bomb had expected a demonstration, not destruction. Some of them break down in tears when they hear the news. Others remain silent, unable to reconcile the equations on their chalkboards with the screams beneath the mushroom cloud. Around the world, governments scramble to understand what just happened. British newspapers call it the greatest leap in warfare since gunpowder. The Soviet Union, watching closely, says nothing, but its leaders already order their scientists to begin work on a bomb of their own. And in Tokyo, Japanese officials still cannot comprehend the scale of what occurred. They receive reports from Hiroshima, tens of thousands dead, a city reduced to ash, radiation sickness spreading like fire. General Anami, Japan's war minister, refuses to believe it. He insists it must have been a massive chemical attack, or a new kind of incendiary weapon. No one can yet imagine that mankind has split the atom itself, but the evidence is undeniable. Aerial photos show nothing but a circular void where Hiroshima once stood. Entire districts erased, not destroyed, but vaporized. The imperial cabinet gathers in Tokyo, trembling in disbelief. An advisor whispers, "If one bomb can do this, Japan cannot survive another." Meanwhile, in the United States, newspapers print the headline in bold, black letters, "Atomic bomb destroys Hiroshima." People read the words, but they don't understand their weight. They cannot see the faces of those burned alive, the mothers searching for their children, the black rain falling over the ruins. They only know the war may soon end. That evening, Truman speaks again in a national broadcast. His message is short, confident, and cold. "We shall continue to use this weapon until we obtain the complete destruction of Japan's power to make war. No epaleji, no hesitation." Just certainty. The same day, the United States drops thousands of leaflets over Japan. They read, "Your leaders have brought this war upon you. We possess a weapon of terrible power. If you value your lives, surrender now." For the first time in history, the world has seen the price of total power. And for the first time, humanity begins to fear itself. The message has been delivered, not just to Japan, but to every nation on Earth. A single weapon has changed the rules of war, the balance of peace, and the meaning of survival. The world listens to the voice of President Truman. But behind his words, the echo of Hiroshima still burns. The fires have died. The smoke has faded into the wind. And what remains of Hiroshima is quiet once more. Among the ashes, a few figures move, slowly, silently. They do not cry. They no longer can. They carry what little is left of their world. A photograph, a child's shoe, a handful of memories that survived the fire. For days, the black rain will fall. For months, the wounded will wander between life and death. And for years, the shadows of that morning will never fade. They will remain burned into the walls, into the stones, and into the conscience of humanity itself. The bomb ended a war, but it also began something far greater and far more dangerous. A world that could destroy itself with the press of a single button. In the ruins of Hiroshima, time stopped on August 6, 1945, but history did not. It carried forward into Nagasaki, into the Cold War, into every nation that would one day seek the same power. The survivors of Hiroshima, the Hibakusha, would live to tell their stories. Voices trembling, eyes distant. They would remind the world of what they had seen, not out of hatred, but so that it would never happen again. And yet, even today, the wind still carries a whisper from that silent morning, a reminder that peace is fragile, and that the light which once saved humanity can also destroy it.